Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is January the 3rd, so Happy New Year to everybody. Um, have a Happy New Year, prosperous New Year. It's gonna be better than 2020, I promise you. 2020 was a trial. Some made it through, some didn't, but we're gonna make 2021 great. So, as you can see by the description, we have received the new transmission for the 3rd gen Camaro on the channel. The burgundy one that you guys have seen in the past videos. Um, we're actually going to name that project Sidechick. Inside joke. But anyway, so we've got the transmission in. We're going to talk about the transmission, about how much transmission costs, what kind of horsepower the transmission to hold. And also we're going to show you how to make the stock flex plate off of a 5.3, 6.0, 4.8, any LS base motor work with a 700 R4 torque converter. We also bought a new torque converter. We'll talk about that too in the video. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so here it is. The brand new 700 R4. So we went on, purchased this transmission because we knew we were gonna be making too much horsepower for the stock 700 R4 that was in this car. It worked great, still works flawlessly up until we pulled the transmission out a week or so ago. But it had some miles on it. And as everybody knows, the 700 R4, in my opinion, and quite a few people's opinion, is about the sorriest 4-speed transmission for power there is. I ain't seen one that works yet that was stock that would hold any power. So we opted to go ahead and purchase this B&M brand spanking new. Had to wait 4 weeks because after 2 weeks I had to call and they hadn't even built the transmission. So brand spanking new 700 R4 stage 3. This transmission has every upgraded part in it there is possibly to get without going, trans brake and yada yada. This transmission, B&M rates it at about 650 to 700 horsepower in a 4-speed. So we're gonna see. This motor over here that's going in Project Sidechick is not gonna be making nowhere near that. That motor should be making around a 400 to maybe 420 after we get it dynoed, find out what's going on. So not real crazy, but good for a 5.3. But back to the transmission. So of course, it's got your billet servo cap, your billet pan. You also have hardened shafts in this one. Upgraded, I think they're red racing clutches. Upgraded pump. But it's pretty much your, I would say, moderate build transmission far as 700 R4 goes. Everything's brand spanking new in it. Even the case. So, everything is brand spanking new off of this bad boy. But, we still got your sensors and everything, your lockups. So, we still going to try to attain the lockup. At first, we may not actually run the lockup right at first. Which, you can run this transmission without lockup. But it does generate more heat. So if you don't plan on running a lockup in your 700 R4, be sure to run a really, really good cooler. I think we are going to take the cooler out of the transmission in this one, just because I do that with anything I build. And we're going to go to a external fan cooler on Project Sidechick. But that's the transmission. Transmission can be had out the door for probably about $2,500. So yes, we got $2,500 tied up in this transmission. So it ought to hold up. If not, we're going back for the warranty. But it should hold no more than what this motor is gonna make. But moving on, because like usually I don't work on Saturdays. On Sundays. So I'm just pilling today. I don't do any extensive work on Sundays. Most people that know me know I don't do that. Nothing never goes right on Sundays. God's day. Sorry. Supposed to be resting. But this is a converter we picked up. We also picked this up brand new. This is not an expensive converter at all, guys. It is not like we're going to be taking this thing to the track all the time. Actually, probably it might get there a couple of times while it's still in my hands, and it'll probably never see the track again. But we picked this up. You can get this from KMJ Performance. It's what you call a boss hog converter. Entry-level converter. You can buy one for probably about $350. Nothing extravagant. It's a 10-inch converter. And it's a 3,000 stall, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's 3,000 to 32 is what we're going to put in this, because the cam is pretty hefty in this 5.3. So we're going to see. I know a lot of people are wondering, why did you put shorties on that motor? Why did you put shorties on that motor? The reason I put shorties on this motor is because the customer wanted to retain their stock exhaust. And with these headers, I can hook the stock exhaust right back up. He already had, I think it's stage 2 or stage 3, what they call it back in the day, Flowmaster set up on the car. So I think it's 2.5, 3-inch all the way out the back. So to cut cost, and I mean, it's a nice exhaust already on the car. So that'll hook right back up to the stock exhaust. So that's why we went with shorties. Of course, in long tube, we wouldn't be able to do that. We'd have to hack it up. So that's why we went with that. Enough of that. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is how do I bolt this to that. Now, if you're pretty savvy, 4L60E and the 700R4 has a very, very similar torque converter. Matter of fact, I think the splines are the same. But don't quote me on that one. But what we're going to do is, how do you adapt this to that, is first thing you're going to need a adapter. What this adapter does, before I even show you, all it is a spacer. And what it does is it keeps the converter pushed back so it still stays engaged in the pump. Stays engaged on the pump inside of the transmission, which there are 2 ears, which you can't see because of the nice pretty seal there. There's 2 ears in there that locks around right here. They slide into there. Well, if you don't have the right clearance, you can start to round these off, and what we call is converter disengagement, which it won't turn it off. It'll also, when it rides on the ends, will actually break the ears in the pump. And I have actually ran into that situation with a Turbo 350, where I bought for $50 with 10,000 miles on it, because they didn't know what was wrong with the transmission. And when I bought the transmission for $50, because either way I could use parts out of it, and turn the transmission over, the ears fell out. Knew exactly what was wrong with it, put a new pump on it, boom. That was the transmission that was in my black S10. $50, immaculate transmission. But the spacer that I'm talking about is this one on the back here. Get you in focus here. And all this is aluminum bushing that goes on the pilot of the converter. And what it does is just extends it out probably about 3/4 of an inch to keep it back engaged in the transmission. So, let me set this camera down and I'll show you. when you put it in, and as you watch it go in, it keeps it pushed back. Now, the gap that you're going to see is that between that and the flywheel or flex plate, whatever you want to call it. I know flywheel's on a manual transmission, but so a flex plate and the converter mount is the same distance as what we had that the bushing pushes it out. Well, everyone asks, how would you can't bolt that up. It's not flush. You have to use spacer, guys. Some people use washers. You can actually buy the thick spacers. You can buy thick washers, matter of fact. Just make sure that you put something in there that will sit flush. So when you tighten it up, it doesn't pull your flex plate, but it bolts directly to it. But that's what that does, and it keeps it pushed back. As you can see the bushing right there, it would ride perfectly fine. Now, that bushing can be had for about, I think it was like $10 or $12 on eBay. Super cheap. But the one that I ordered, for some odd reason, would not fit in to the back of the crank pilot. No big deal. Take it to a grinder or sanding disc or whatever, and just smooth this down until you can get it to fit flush. Does not hurt it a bit. So, once we got that done, it went right in fine as you saw right then. But the next thing we need to do is, let's see here, see if the bolts line up. So, we're going to turn it. I don't know if you guys can actually see that on video, but that hole there is where your converter is going to go. And you're probably not going to see it on video. But if you look in there with a light, which, there we go. Should be able to see it now. You have overlap. No big deal. Oh man, I'm never going to get a bolt in there. Oh man. Wrong. All you have to do is put that converter back up there. Take you a paint marker or a fine pen, marker pen, as of this sort. This will work. Can get them from anywhere. Hardware store always has them. But you're going to go in that hole and you're going to color that hole in. And what you're doing there is you're going to color the flex plate of where the bolt would go straight through. And once you do that, you're going to go over to your air tools or maybe even electric. And you're going to grab your die bit. Any die bit will work. Try to get one probably about the size of the bolt that you're going to use, which is going to be, on this, I'm probably actually going to end up tapping those tabs. I'm going to tap those tabs, probably the 3/8, so I don't have to run nuts, and I can just run Loctite on them with some lock washer. So, what you're going to do is you're going to go into that hole right there, and you are going to color that hole while the converter's over it, so you know exactly where to cut. What you're going to be doing, guys, is you're going to elongate that hole. And you're going to elongate that hole inward. So you're going to be coming into this way. You're going to elongate that hole. Not much. Just enough to get a bolt in it. And the reason you don't want to elongate it too much is because you don't want slapping if your bolts ever do decide to slack up for some odd reason. They shouldn't if you run Loctite and lock washer. But for some odd reason, you want to cut just enough so that the bolt goes through. Once you get your bolt through, you're good. Now, this is a 3-bolt mounting, so you got one there, and one there. So, I'm going to get these marked, show you exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to get it cut, and we're going to be right back. All right, guys. Okay, so we have them marked, as you can see. That's how much we have to trim out or elongate the hole in order to get a bolt through. So we're gonna get our air compressor pumped up here, and we're gonna get to cutting. Now, what I would do is I would not cut all the way to the end of the red. I would go just about to the end of the red, and then test fit from there, guys. So don't cut too much. If you do cut a little bit more than that, it's not the end of the world. But that would be something that I would want to keep a check on, make sure my bolts stay tight periodically, crawl underneath the car, check the bolts. But if you get it just where the bolt will go through, it'll be perfectly fine. So we're going to get to cutting, and we'll be back. Also, when you're doing these bolts, if you're doing them in this fashion, turn your motor over and bring them up to the top so you can see what you're doing, guys. It's hard to get down there to that one. So, and you're going to be cutting upward. So, make sure you can see what you're doing if you're doing it in this fashion. So, alright, let's get to it. Alright, guys. So, we're getting all our air and stuff together. And I'm going to put us a little dab of oil in our die grinder, so it'll run nice and smooth. Work your trigger a little bit to get it all down in there in the veins. Alright, so we're going to go in, and remember we're cutting inward. So make sure you got PPE on. Don't do like I'm doing. Alright, so as you can see, we got our bolt holes elongated inward, and then you would want to do the bottom one. Now that should be enough to get our bolts in, but that's what you want to do, guys. And then when you put your converter back on, stick that back up there, you'll be able to get your bolts right back in there and tighten them up, and you'll be good to go. So that's how you adapt the 700R4 converter to a LS platformed motor, guys. That pretty much concludes the video. Like, share, subscribe. We're also going to be doing a giveaway, guys. So if you like these videos, you want to see more, once I hit 50 subscribers, guys, I'm giving away something nice. So if you like the channel, subscribe to the channel, comment, make suggestions. I'm open to anything, guys. Peace out. God, love. We'll see you next time.